Hey guys, wanted to quickly show you how to build the major scale modes. Now I was trying this out with a student of mine last week, and what we found was that in the 3 note per string modes, there's a very specific pattern that the modes follow. And what do I mean by that is there's shapes that reoccur in a very specific order, and if you're doing 3 note per string modes, they all follow in this exact same format. So I'm just going to quickly show you. I'm not going to waste a lot of time talking here. So the way that these shapes follow, and if you use my how to pick properly part 2 video, I talk about these shapes. So the very first shape is a set of 3 big stretches. So you're going to do, there's 3 big stretches, then it's followed by a pair of 1, 2, 4s, 1 fret up, then it's also followed by a pair of 1, 3, 4s. Now this is just to demonstrate it on a 7-string guitar so that I could show you all the forms that and how they connect to each other. So that's the way that they all connect. So you're going to do 3 big stretches, then 2 1 2 4s, and then 2 1 3 4s. So how do we translate that into our major scale modes? Well, let's start with the very first mode, and this will make sense once we do it. So I'm just going to keep using my 7-string here. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the Ionian mode, which is the major scale mode. So what we're going to do is we're going to start, again, these are 3 note per string. We're going to do a pair of big stretches, starting on the low E string. Again, forget this top string. Okay, that's my 7th string. So a pair of big stretches, then a pair of 1 2 4s, and then a pair of 1 3 4s. And remember the tuning of the B string here. This is standard tuning. So then you've got a pair of 1 3 4s. Okay, so let's do that again. Big stretch, 2 of them. 1 2 4s, 2 of those. 1 3 4s. Okay, so what happens after the 1 3 4 is you go back to doing 3 big stretches. Okay, but what do I start with on the next degree? Okay, if I want to do Dorian, well, thankfully you already know that, because on the high E string, if you remember, we finished with a 1 3 4, right? Okay, well, if that's on the high E string, then guess what? The low E string is going to start with the same shape. Now the trick is to remember what pair or what string from those pairs that you're using, right? Because I just finished doing, on the last 2 strings, it was a pair of 1 3 4s. So that means that this was my last string of 1 3 4s. So that means if I translate it over to the low E string, this is also my last 1 3 4. So once that's done, then I have to go back to the beginning doing 3 big stretches. So that's how we'll create the Dorian. So we'll do our 1 3 4, and then we said that 3 big stretches follow after that, right? Okay, well, let's do that. And then what followed after that was a pair of 1 2 4s. Now remember the tuning of the B string, so we got to crank everything up 1 fret. So there's my pair of 1 2 4s. Okay, so let's go over that again. So back in Ionian again. So big stretch, pair of 1 2 4s, pair of 1 3 4s. This is my last 1 3 4. I'm going to translate that back over to the low E string. So now I'm going to start with my big stretches again. Right, I do 3 of them, and then I'm going to do a pair of 1 2 4s, and again, be careful of the tuning of the B string. Alright, so that's our Dorian mode. Okay, so now I want to do the 3rd mode, which is Phrygian. So I just finished Dorian with a pair of 1 2 4s. So there's my 1 2 4 right here, and it's the last one of the 2. We gotta remember which one of the pair that we ended with, okay? So it's the second 1 2 4. Alright, so what I'm going to do is move that back up to the low E string. okay, because it was on the high E string. Whatever's on the high E string will also work on the low E string. Okay, so this was my second of the pair of 1, 2, 4s. So once I'm done this one, I got to change back and do a pair of 1, 3, 4s. So 1, 2, 4, pair of 1, 3, 4s. Once we were done the 1, 3, 4s, remember it was a big stretch, 3 of them. So here's my first big stretch. Now I got to do that B string tuning, so big stretch here and a big stretch here. So there's your Phrygian mode, okay? So remember, we just came off of a 1, 3, 4, or sorry, a 1, 2, 4 from Dorian. We moved it over to the low E string. And we built it using the last 1, 2, 4, and then followed that pattern again, the 1, 3, 4s and the 3 big stretches. Okay, so I just ended here. This was my last big stretch out of the 3. So this is on the low E string. I'm going to put it, or sorry, high E string, so I'm going to put it on the low E string. So again, keep in mind where you are. This is the thing. You always have to remember where you left off. So this is my big stretch right here. I'm going to follow through now with a pair of 1, 2, 4s. And then 1, 2, 4s are done. So now I'm going to do a pair of 1, 3, 4s. Watch the B string here. Got to crank it up. So once you're done the 1, 3, 4s, then you start the big stretches again. But we only have 1 string left, so there's my big stretch right there. Okay, so this was the first big stretch of a group of 3. So we're going to translate that back over to the low E string. So guess what? We're going to do 3 of them. Okay, so here we go. So 3 big stretches. A pair of 1, 2, 4s. And then normally we do a pair of 1, 3, 4s, but we only have 1 string left. So that's our first 1, 3, 4 out of the pair, right? Okay, well let's take that, move it over to the low E string. Sorry, so that mode that I just did was Mixolydian. I'll show them all to you at the end. Okay, so this is my Aeolian mode. I just started the first set of a 1, 3, 4, so I'm going to move that 1, 3, 4 back over to the low E string, and I'm going to do a pair of them. After the 1, 3, 4s, you do big stretches, and there's 3 of them. Watch the B string tuning. Okay, 3 big strings, or sorry, 3 big stretches are done. So now I'm going to do a pair of 1, 2, 4s, but I only have 1 string, so that's where I'm going to end it. Okay, so this is my first 1, 2, 4 of the pair. So I'm going to take that 1, 2, 4, move it over to the low E string like we've been doing all along. This is the Locrian mode. So this is my first 1, 2, 4 of a pair. Okay, I'm done my 1, 2, 4s, so now I'm going to go to the 1, 3, 4s. Done that, so now I'm going to go to 3 big stretches. Again, watch the B string tuning. Okay, I only had enough strings left to do 2, so my last one was the second big stretch out of the 3. So I'm going to move that guy over to the low E string. So this is the second one of 3. Okay, so this just repeats the Ionian or the major scale mode that we just did earlier. This is my second big stretch. This is my third one of 3. So now I'm going to go back to the 1, 2, 4s, and then the 1, 3, 4s. Those are all the major scale modes from root to octave. So let's try this again. Okay, I'm just going to quickly adjust my camera here. There we go. All right. Get us starting back on G again. You can start this anywhere you want, provided you have enough frets. Okay, so back on the 3rd fret, here we go. So we're starting with Ionian. So we're going to do a pair of big stretches. Big stretches are done, onto the 1, 2, 4s. 1, 2, 4s are done, onto the 1, 3, 4s. Okay, this was my second 1, 3, 4. So I'm going to move him onto the low E string. Still the second 1, 3, 4. Now I'm going to do 3 big stretches. Those are done. Now I'm going to move over to the 1, 2, 4s. Remember the B string, okay? 2 fret jump here. Dorian is done. Okay, so now I'm going to take this high E string, move it over to the low E string. Remember, this one was the second 1, 2, 4 of a pair of them. So this is the second 1, 2, 4. So once I'm done this string, I'm going to go into a pair of 1, 3, 4s. So this is Phrygian. 1, 2, 4 is done. Pair of 1, 3, 4s. Those are done. Now I'm doing 3 big stretches. Phrygian is done. This was my last big stretch out of the 3, so I'm going to move that over to the low E string. It's still my last big stretch out of 3, so I'm going to go to 1, 2, 4s once I'm done this string. This is Lydian. Okay, now I'm going to do the 1, 2, 4s. They're done. Onto the 1, 3, 4s. B string tuning here. Okay, that's done. Now I'm going to start my big stretches. Okay, that was Lydian. So I'm on my I'm on my first of 3 big stretches. Going to move that over to the low E string. It's still my first of 3 big stretches, so I'm going to do 3 of them. Big stretches are done. Onto the 1, 2, 4s. Crank it up for that B string. Now starting the 1, 3, 4s. I only had enough room for 1, so I'm going to take that 1, 3, 4. It's the first one. Move it over to the low E string. So now I'm going to do a pair of them, remember, because this is the first one. So, sorry, that was Mixolydian. So now I'm on Aeolian. The pair of 1, 3, 4s are done. 3 big stretches are done. Remember, I watched that B string tuning there. I only had enough room for 1. And now onto the Locrian mode. Pair of 1, 2, 4s. Pair of 1, 3, 4s. Big stretch. That was my second big stretch. Okay, the second one of 3. So I'm going to move it over to the low E string. Still on the second one of 3. That's my third one. So now onto the 1, 2, 4s. And then onto the 1, 3, 4s. Those are all your modes. There you go. So this is my first time demonstrating this, so please go ahead and send me some questions. I know it's a bit of a hard concept, but just try to remember that the high E string mimics the low E string, and as long as you follow the 3 big stretches, followed by the pair of 1, 2, 4s, and then followed by the pair of 1, 3, 4s, you should be able to logically put them all together. And like I said, just send me an email, okay? Post a comment. I'd love to get some feedback on this technique, good or bad. All right, have a great night. Bye.